You're listening to Multiple Offers, a real estate show with competing perspectives. Today we're talking foreclosures. Deal of a lifetime or complete waste of time?
Put that coffee down.
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
How'd you get the gig? Oh, you know, they were hiring. It was only a 2-week course.
I will sell this house today.
What are you, some kind of real estate agent?
Oh, he's a realtor. There is a difference somehow.
This is Multiple Offers, a real estate show.
All right, coming back. I thought we'd start with, I was curious to say, why does a home go into foreclosure?
That's a good point, okay?
Right? How did it get to that point that now it is under that status? And in a foreclosure status, there actually isn't a specific checkbox on an MLS listing that says foreclosure or bank foreclosure.
Or this really needs to sell and they'll take any offer.
It says court-ordered sale. Mm-hmm. And a court-ordered sale doesn't necessarily mean foreclosure.
No.
Right?
What could it mean?
Well, I don't think we need to go through every bit of it, but like some examples are somebody who has become a problem in their strata for a variety of reasons, gets a court order that allows them to remove that person.
Or jointly owned property where they need to kind of expedite things that know it's time. Yeah. And that's just a way of having the court order.
Yeah. Could be a messy divorce where one person didn't want to sell the house. Right. And then it was, so a court order was the only way to liquidate the asset.
So not clear on the MLS.
Yeah, just because you check a box that says court-ordered sale doesn't mean foreclosure.
Right.
But when we talk a bank foreclosure, the bank has or the lender has taken over the house. It's because the mortgage hasn't been paid.
Right.
Now, the mortgage doesn't get paid for a few reasons. Usually it's because, well, obviously because you don't have the money to pay the mortgage. Mm-hmm. Some people make strategic decisions to stop paying their mortgage, but it's usually because you don't have funds. But the reason why you might not have funds could be because you've lost your job and you just haven't been able to keep up with your payments. And the other that we see very commonly in the strata world is a large special levy. And we kind of talked about the big example of that is the leaky condo, like episode 41. Right. It could be $50,000 or $60,000, and somebody doesn't have that money. Mm-hmm. So strata needs to collect $60,000 from them. They can't collect. That would be a court order to go and get that funds recovered from the homeowner. Right. So they're still actually making their bank payments, but the strata now is able to have a court order to go against that, and the debts have to be paid off.
So if we're talking, like a detached house, and again, like we don't see too many of these. Like most people, I looked up, the number. This is from a few years back now, but for Canadian mortgages, it was somewhere around 0.5% were in arrears.
Yeah, banks don't really want to put you under a foreclosure proceeding.
Right, and because we have a lot of regulations now for our banking system, and even more so today than in years past, that kind of prevented us from getting into this situation where people didn't have enough equity in their home. They were, I'm behind, I lost my job, whatever. I have barely anything in this home. I don't mind walking away or living here rent free.
Yeah, when you talked about equity, I mean, the market has gone up so much at this point that
people will find a way to make those payments.
If you've lost your job and you can't get, let's say, a line of credit or some sort of loan to help keep up with your mortgage payments, and you really can't pay anymore, you're not going to allow yourself to go into foreclosure proceedings. You're just going to sell. Right. Because there's profit there. The market is appreciated enough that you bought your home for $400,000 and now it's worth $600,000. So you owe $360,000 on it or $370,000, but you can go and sell it for $600,000. Right. So you can get out of it.
That's always going to be the best option for people. So we're talking like last resort. So if we're talking about like a detached house, we saw a lot where like escrow ops. So somebody owned a house, maybe put a renter in, they've destroyed the value of the home down to land value. So in those kind of cases, it's just extremely bad luck, or just someone who hasn't been able to keep up with looking after this house. So you're stuck with, so for detached, and it's not always true with apartments and condos and townhouses, but a lot of times the ones that we did see that came on the market were just a mess, a wreck.
Yeah, they were really neglected to the nth degree, right? So those ended up in foreclosure. The bank had to really go through that. The foreclosure proceeding isn't fun for the lender. No. They don't really want to engage in that, right? Mm-hmm. But they need to, they have to go to their lawyer, and the lawyer has to go to the courts and go through all of that, and then they have to go to their process of determining value and then recovering, their costs and all the rest of it. It's not something they really want to jump into. Yeah. But if you're a buyer and you're listening to this and you're like, okay, there is a foreclosure out there. If it got to that point, there definitely was some financial distress. It happened. So that's how it got there.
Right.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.